Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. I never confronted her. Not the night I discovered the truth. Not the morning after. Not even in the weeks I passed her in the kitchen, pretending our lives were still normal. Silence was simpler than demanding an explanation I already knew. I stayed quiet after the betrayal, not out of strength but because I was broken in a way that had no voice. I convinced myself she had moved on, that I had become a closed chapter in her life. She turned the page without regret until months later, her voice caught me off guard in a crowded street. Not every goodbye stays buried, I realized. It started with a message, a careless notification flashing across her phone. I wasn't meant to see it, yet I did. Last night shouldn't have happened, but I can't stop thinking about you. It was from someone I didn't recognize, someone who clearly knew her more intimately than I ever imagined, while she was still with me. My hands shook as I stood frozen, the air around me heavy. Still I said nothing. Deep down I had known all along. The late nights, the subtle distance, the soft lies hidden behind her smiles, they weren't just emotional cheating. They were abandonment. I had lost her long before that message, and silence became my refuge. When she eventually left, claiming she needed time to figure things out, I didn't stop her. I nodded, not in agreement but out of exhaustion. She walked away with barely a tear, and I felt like a ghost, trapped in a body that remembered what it felt like to be loved. I didn't chase. I didn't plead. I didn't demand answers. That silence became a wall I hid behind, a shield against a love that no longer wanted me. When someone chooses another, you stop asking questions. You learn to live with the truths you'll never hear. The months that followed were quiet, unremarkable. No grand gestures, no dramatic rebound. Just mornings filled with unfinished books, coffee that tasted hollow, and the persistent echo of her absence. Life continued around me, but she didn't reach out, so I assumed I had been forgotten, until the day she didn't forget. It was a local festival, loud and bustling, and I was half listening to music, half lost in thought. Then I heard it, my name, barely audible but unmistakable. I turned and there she was. Alone, her hair tied back, a nervous flicker in her eyes I hadn't seen since we first met. Our gaze locked. She looked like she had seen a ghost, and maybe she had. I wasn't the man she left behind, and she wasn't the woman I used to know. I wasn't sure it was you, she whispered, voice trembling. But I had to know. I didn't speak. Everything I had wanted to say for months suddenly felt irrelevant. She glanced down, then back up, her words fragile. I owe you more than an apology. I don't expect you to accept it. The music carried on, people laughed, life moved forward, and there we stood, two unfinished sentences in the middle of a crowd that didn't care about our story. I never stopped thinking about you, she admitted, voice cracking. Even when I pretended I had. I wanted to reach out 1,000 times but didn't know if I could. I finally spoke. You already had the truth. That was enough. She blinked, fighting back tears. I made a mistake. I've regretted it every day. Her sincerity was raw. No defenses, no pride, just regret. And for a fleeting moment, I felt all the love I once carried for her. The laughter, the dreams, the nights imagining forever. But I also felt the silence, the lonely nights, the mornings waking to an empty space, the absence she left behind. I forgive you, I said softly. But I won't come back. Her lips quivered. I didn't come to ask for that. I just needed to know if I was still someone worth forgiving. And in that instant I realized I had healed. Forgiveness didn't mean forgetting, it meant releasing the weight of her betrayal. She stepped back, wiped her eyes, and offered a sad, honest smile. Thank you, she whispered, then disappeared into the crowd. No hugs, no promises, no second chances, just peace. For anyone betrayed in silence, know this. You don't have to raise your voice to be heard. You don't have to fight to be seen. Sometimes, the strongest healing comes from walking away quietly, letting the storm pass. And if they whisper your name someday, let it remind you of your strength, not pull you back. Your peace will always outweigh their apology. Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers.